Welcome to this episode of Courtroom Drama. The judge let the defense speak and casually asked, has the witness mentioned before arrived? The witness turned out to be the victim's son, Jiang Bingji, a 5-year-old boy, and the plot is thickening. Little Song's father just died tragically, and everyone's hiding the truth. The defense lawyer, eager to win, brings a 5-year-old to court. What is this? A surreal reality? Mingmo spreads his hands and says, the law states anyone can testify. Little Song takes the stand, and Ozai sweetly asks, Sweetie, what games do you like to play? Little Song replies, I like playing ball. Ozai asks where? Little Song says, at home. Ozai asks, who do you usually play with? Little Song replies innocently, big brother's at home. Subtitles. Ozai turns around and inquires, are there any big brothers around here? Little Song quickly points to Huang Mao, and Ozai continues to press with more questions. He asks, did you used to play with Big Brother Huang Mao often? Little Song nods, Big Brother Huang Mao helps me pick up the ball. I'm too sure. Ozai asks, where do you pick up the balls? Little Song replies, above the Dog Kingdom. Ozai quickly pulls out 2 photos. Where the crime took place, there's a little dog figurine in the entryway cabinet. According to Little Song's testimony, the fingerprints submitted by the prosecution could very well have been left before the incident. Jai stands up in opposition. Kids' memories are often fuzzy, making this testimony unreliable. Ozai says kids are usually quite blunt, so they generally don't lie. First trial wraps up, leaving the fingerprint evidence almost non-existent. Jai faces a complete defeat, and Chai Feng never saw. Mingmo managed to convince the victim's family to testify for the defendant, Huang Mao. Talk about a plot twist. 3 days before the trial, Mingmo approached Yuma's wife, who dismissed Huang Mao's innocence and just didn't want to discuss it anymore. Mingmo dropped a gossip bomb, uncovering that Yuma and Huang Mao's relationship was on shaky ground, and Yuma's wife had a questionable relationship with Huang Mao. Yuma's wife quickly defends herself, claiming she was just complimenting that handsome boy. Mingmo responds, she once lost a case. The defendant was sentenced to 10 years in prison and just recently found out it was all a mistake. Imagine being unjustly imprisoned in the dark. If Little Sue doesn't testify, Huang Mao could be next. If Huang Mao is convicted, the police will close the investigation, and they will keep investigating. Surely, Madam doesn't want the real culprit to walk free, right? Can you live this way? In the end, Yuma's wife agrees to let her son testify. Thank you for your help. And that's the last thing. Ozai sends Little Sue home and notices an employee holding his hand, asking if he wants to play ball. Ozai quickly rushes over to ask if there's any ball-playing incident to report to lawyer Mingmo. The employee nods, confirming, and a chill rises in Ozai's heart. Can you live with that? Did Mingmo induce the child to commit perjury for a win? I figured it out during the break. Shifeng has been tracking the counterfeit, discovering his gambling debts have piled up. Recently, he just lost 1.5 million. To fill the void, he bought 300,000 from Yumu. An employee witnessed Yumu yell at the counterfeit to pay him back. Besides that, Shifeng thinks there's something off with the counterfeit's testimony. He's just a pretty face, too frightened to step outside without his glasses. At night, Mingmo and Shifeng head to the racetrack, where the counterfeit just lost another 100,000. Mingmo pretends to have hit the jack. He offers to give the counterfeit a 100,000 bonus, which is just what he needs. They head to a street stall, downing a few beers. The counterfeit opens up, saying he made tons of money over the years but got fired, leaving his family looking down on him. Outside the restaurant, passing trains make the counterfeit jittery. After finishing supper, Mingmo introduces himself as the defendant's lawyer, shocking the counterfeit. He insists he won't commit perjury. Mingmo threatens him with criminal liability for bribery, demanding he return the money he just mentioned. The counterfeit immediately shoves the money back and bolts. Sheffield looks at the counterfeit's retreating figure and says, there's no such Mingmo agrees, that's why you should read more. The second trial begins with the counterfeit taking the witness stand. Ozai still starts with questions. Why did you return to the factory on the day of the incident? The counterfeit repeats the statement like a broken record. The counterfeit states he heard a scream and rushed over to find his boss collapsed in a pile of snow. Ozai says he's done with questions. The judge allows the defense to cross-examine. Mingmo approaches the counterfeit asking, did the defendant say, I'm going to kill you? The counterfeit nods without hesitation. Mingmo wants to submit new evidence. Ozai doesn't dare to object, fearing the jury will catch on to his game. He can't oppose, letting the jury's suspicions run wild. Subtitle: Xiao Feng, please play the recording. After the recording finishes, Mimo asks the counterfeiter, "What did the man say at the end of the conversation?" Mimo smirks coldly and turns to the jury. He added mechanical noise to the recording. In such a noisy environment, the counterfeit couldn't discern the conversation. This witness was definitely lying. On the night of the crime, he didn't go back at all to fetch his glasses. Instead, he went to get his hearing aid. Mimo had already anticipated that Ozai would object, so he prepared evidence in advance. Counterfeit has auditory processing disorder (APD), which doesn't affect daily life, but in a noisy environment everything becomes a blur. He loves to read, but he was there every time. Unfortunately, the kid is truly just a pretty face. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and invite your friends to join this thrilling drama.